Everybody remembers this little 1022. I've used it in other things, talking about different little add-ons for it, talking about the nightstick that you can see mounted on it, talking about the bipod. Now this is the same 1022 that I actually learned on when I was growing up, and today we're gonna tear it apart. We're actually gonna break this down and do a little bit to sort of enhance it. What we've got, what started it all, was this ADTAC, Adaptive Tactical M4 style stock that we got in the blue stone finish. We've got a TacHammer Barrel. We've got a Sun Optics 3x9 that we'll be putting on there. We've got the new Ruger BX trigger, a couple mags, and of course the ADTAC wouldn't be complete if we didn't also have that tack tread that I've actually already installed. Just takes a single screw, no big deal. Okay, first thing I want to talk about is the trigger. The old school trigger on these, not the greatest. We all know that. This gun's clear. You can see that it's clear. And we're going to do a quick pull on the trigger, see what we get as far as the weight of that trigger pull. So that is coming in not sure if you can see that very well, but that is 6 3/4 inches, or excuse me, 6 3/4 pounds on the trigger pull. I'm going to go ahead and use this gun tool from Real Avid and take all the easy stuff off of here real quick. You guys can handle all that, I'm sure, so no need to get into that. I'll just see you when I've got it stripped down a bit. Alright, so this is our 1022. We've taken everything off of it that you probably didn't have on your 1022. And the only thing that's missing from this would be the barrel band, which would be right here. And that's simple enough, obviously, for you to just go ahead and pull that off, no big deal. As for breaking down the weapon, it's pretty simple. I've already broken this down once. I'm going to break it down again for you so you can see how it's done. Right down here we have a screw that comes out from underneath the stock just forward of the magazine well. And when we remove that screw completely, and we're loose from it, then the barrel and the whole mechanism comes right off. Set our stock to the side, and then we can take a look at the mechanism itself. As far as removing the trigger, all we have to do is remove these two pins. Trigger lifts right out. For the barrel, we're going to remove these two screws here using an Allen wrench. And while I was using the Weaver screwdriver to get these out simply and easily before, I've got my Allen wrench prepared because this barrel is tapered and I can actually get around it with the screwdriver. But once the bull barrel goes on, we won't have that taper, and when we don't have that taper, it's going to make it far more difficult to get these screws in and out of where we need them. While this takes a second to get these screws up because they are rather long, which of course is a good thing because we want to have the strength to hold everything together, the barrel actually does come off very simply once they are removed. Turn them out the rest of the way by hand. Then this block comes off. That's what's holding the barrel in place. And then all I did was give it a little twist back and forth, and the barrel comes loose. So there we have our 1022 barrel off. Set that to the side. And then to remove the trigger set, just take a punch, or in this case I got an Allen wrench, pop these pins out, and the entire mechanism lifts right out. They were very easily removed, just came out without any real pressure or anything. They're held in by the stock, so there's no need to make those overly tight. And then while you're in here, I'm going to recommend giving it a good scrub down before you proceed. So I think that's what we're going to do now, is we're going to scrub it down, and then we will start working on putting this whole thing back together. Okay, so I've gone ahead and put a little frog lube in here, clean things up, use the frog lube solvent. We all know that from my testing in the past that the frog lube is the way to go. I've gone ahead and added some frog lube CLP in here, because the last thing we want to do is put anything together dry. Okay, I've cleaned everything up. I've put a little frog lube in here, used the frog lube solvent, and used the CLP because we don't want to put anything back together dry. Now, we've all seen from the testing I've done previously that the frog lube is definitely the way to go. So what we're going to do is just reverse the order in which we went the last time and see if we can put this thing back together with the new materials that we have. So first, let's start with this new BX trigger from Ruger. They sent this along. Remove this block, make sure that it is on safe, and we'll pop this in. Just pull back on the tabs, slide that out, and this should slip right in here where we need it. Okay, that clicked into place. I can see that the back one wanted to sink past the hole a little bit, so I had to pull that up a little. Pop our pins right back in. Okay, and that's the trigger install. That simple. Now we need to put the barrel on. This is the new TacHammer Barrel. Slide this into place. Get it in there good and tight. Should center itself when we put everything together, but I'm trying to make sure I start from a good spot. Put our block in. Start turning these screws back in. This is what I was saying before. I'm going to really want to make sure I have the Allen wrench ready, because the bulk of the screwdriver that I was using is not going to pass by this bull barrel. There's no taper to allow it. Alright, before I tighten that down fully, I want to just double check, see if everything looks like it is centered, and it's not centered right now. To loosen them up just a little, so I can try and center that a little better. I did think that this was going to probably self-center the way it's made, but can't be sure of that. Alright, I think that is on there. Looks better, looks like it's centered. Certainly not going to be any movement. We are good to go. Now we're going to move on to our stock. And this is the ADTAC stock from Adaptive Tactical. And it came with this insert in the stock. This is for the tapered barrel. I've removed that because what we are using will be the TacHammer barrel that they sent along. And that TacHammer barrel is, of course, a bull barrel. So we're going to slide that in. Snug fit. Okay, that's good. And I have removed the screw from under the stock from the original stock, and we will go ahead and place that in here. And I can feel the barrel tightening down. Good and tight. And we should have a functioning weapon at this point with a much, much nicer trigger. Okay, now, of course, this is a M4 style multi-positional stock. I believe it's 6 position. We do have storage for extra magazines on board, which we have right here. We should just pop in. Trying to see if there's a specific way that they may want to put these in here. I don't think it necessarily matters, but they do look like they're going to be tight, which is what you're going to want, because obviously we don't want to lose our magazines when we're using our weapon. And next, all we need to do is mount our scope from Sun Optics, and we'll go down there and sight this bad boy in, see how it does. Okay, now that we have everything together, just want to take a look at this new BX trigger from Ruger. I've already cleared the weapon. I'm going to clear it again just so you can see, and we'll take a measure, see what the new weight is. Previously we were at 6 3/4 pounds, now we are at 4 3/4 pounds. So it is a significant reduction, and I can tell you from the feel of it, it is much, much smoother.